Hello, today we are going to talk about the standardized treatments we use at Natura and ProTerra. The reason we have this is because it's important that every service performed in the field follows the same general program. Customers have to come to expect that when, no matter who it is, comes out to their home, they're going to get the same service, that they're going to have an area that's free of pests and that everything is going to be taken care of for them. How we do that is by taking the steps of following our mission, which is to give the customer the best protection for their home. Everybody says they do pest control, but not everybody can give them or offer them the best protection. And that means meeting and exceeding all their expectations for a pest-free home. Specifically, taking the steps that are necessary to prevent pests from getting in or even close to their house. We also want to make sure we do the little extra things. Maybe we take the garbage can from the sidewalk up to the house. Maybe we pick up the newspaper for them. The little things that we do set us apart and offer us the opportunity to demonstrate our uniqueness within the pest control industry. And one of those steps, one of those uniquenesses is we want them to understand that we are the easiest for them to deal with. If they have an issue or a problem with a crawl space, say the visqueen or plastic, we offer that as a service. They don't have to go somewhere else. If they have a problem with rodents, we offer that as a service. They don't have to go somewhere else. So we want to provide each opportunity to be able to be used in a way that the customer finds all they have to do is ask, or better yet, we are going to give them the easiest service and the easiest way of dealing with a company. And then the customer also wants to have a complete service. They want to know they don't have to go to somebody else to get something done. Or if they call and they have a service, we'll make sure that if it's something we don't offer, we'll find somebody that does. So we want to take those steps to help them to have a great experience by having the complete service for them. And then the last thing, people want to have environmentally friendly products. We follow the idea that we have child and pet friendly products, and we continuously monitor what we use, how we use it, and try to find the most organic, natural products that are available. So we always want to make sure that we're taking those strides to be the best that we can in our three uniques: experiencing the easiest to deal with, the most complete service, and the most environmentally friendly, kid-friendly, pet-friendly products. How we do this is through the Natura ProTerra's proven process. Each quarter of the year is broken down into specific steps that we want to do to make sure the customer feels that they're getting the most complete service. In the spring, we'll control emerging pest populations, identify any access points, and ensure that any debris that's around, like say leaves and clutter that we can be able to help assist with, we'll pull away. It's going to make our service better, but it's also going to make it much more impressive to the customer. In the summer, we're going to control the existing or emerging pests, focus on stinging and harmful pests, remove webs and wasp nets, and introduce any type of baiting regimen that we might need to. In the fall, we'll place pheromone traps, we'll identify access points for rodents, Establish intersection zone barriers, which would be areas from the, say, the fence line or some type of construction area to the house. And by construction area, I mean landscaping, shrubs, bushes, things like that. And in the winter, we're going to monitor pheromone traps. We're going to prepare or treat entry points, and we're going to inspect and treat crawl spaces as we need to. We want to provide complete service, but we also want to make sure that the customer understands not only what we're doing right now, but what the next service is. So what are the steps to a great service within the Proterra proven process? How do we get to doing each one of those so that the customer finds they have a pest-free home? So the first thing we do, excuse me, is prepare, we inspect, we treat, and then we educate. And we're going to go through each one of these steps individually. First thing, preparation. It's the most important step, because if you get out to somebody's house and you don't have the necessary products, it's not going to look very good. And they're going to lose confidence in who you are and what you provide. Plus, when you get out to the customer's house, you want to be able to just go to the truck, pick up what you need, and do the service. First, what we want to do is when we get to the office, check your truck. Make sure that the fluids are all up, the oil's good, that you have windshield washer solvent. Make sure that your safety equipment is in the truck. You have your gloves, any knee pads, respirators, safety glasses. Make sure you have everything you need to be able to do the job that day. Then check your chemicals. Make sure that if you have the need for it, you've got rodent bait. Make sure you have glue boards. Make sure that you have your power rig filled and ready to go. Make sure the backpacks are filled, and make sure that you have extra water. Check the schedule. Make sure that maybe if somebody needs some type of a trap, you have that available. Check any of the equipment that you need that day. Do you need an extended bee pole? Do you need a special backpack for other service? And then when you get to the stop, review the last service that was done. Make sure that you check what pests they treated, and then think about what pests could be going now, depending on the time of year and what you've been seeing in the neighborhood. Review that last service for any of the products that were used. Sometimes you might choose a different mode of action for a chemical, because one that's been used might have been used over and over, and you want to switch up to avoid any kind of resistance buildup. And if it's a reservice, you don't want to use the same product if it didn't work before. It may have been just the application wasn't right, or they overwhelmed the application, but you might need to use a different product. So it's a good time to make sure that you're using something else and that you've reviewed that. The key pests when we inspect we're looking for are going to be mice, spiders, ants, and stinging insects. So anytime you go to service a customer, you're going to be looking for, on your inspection, mice, spiders, ants, and stinging insects. When we inspect, where are we looking? We're looking at lighted areas, any place like porch lights, security lights, landscape lights. All of these could be areas that a pest would like to go to and would be attracted to. We're going to look for water areas, whether it's the spigot, whether it's a small pond, some type of water feature. We want to check those areas for pests. We want to look at rock beds, make sure that we don't have an ant problem that's coming up, or some other pests, because the rocks absorb heat and the pests like to sit there, especially during the day and the evening when that heat is being available to them. And then special landscaping. Who knows what type of pests might be lurking in some of these exotic plants that are used. So we want to make sure that we check this and we look to see if there's any pests that might be sitting there, especially in shrubs or juniper bushes or any kind of flowers. And then we want to check decks. Take a look at the deck in the back. See if there's something that might be underneath. Do we have access? Garages, especially the garage door. They allow opportunity for pests to get in, give them a direct avenue to get right into the customer's home. Once they get in the garage, they have access to hot water tanks. They have access to any kind of storage and shelvings. We also want to go to the front porch, check that. Look for anything specific there that might be available to the pest to hide. Remember, the pest might not necessarily be trying to get indoors, but just looking for protection. And a wasp nest on the front porch is not a good thing. Back patios, if they don't have a deck, might have a slab. And those where they slab joins with the structure could have some type of an expansion joint there. And ants love that area, as do many of the other occasional invaders we deal with. And then sheds and playscapes. Definitely want to make sure that if there's a playscape and kids are going to be playing in it, that it's protected from any wasps or anything that might cause harm to kids. So when we're inspecting, the steps we use are to specifically grab that web brush. Nothing says that we didn't service well, like leaving webs up on the house. So make sure you're carrying the web brush. And when you go around with the web brush and you're looking at the house, make sure that every web and any nests have been knocked down. Don't just look above your head, look low. Sometimes wasp nests might be around areas that we just haven't thought of because they're lower and the wasp thought this would be a good spot to put their nest. Spiders like to have 2 points to hang on to. So a wall itself may not have a great web, but if there's something connected to it, a downspout, a fence line, a shrub, they're going to swing over and create a nest or some type of a webbing there. And we want to be able to stop that. So we want to make sure that we can be able to address any of these things, because this is what tells people what they perceive as being a good pest control service. As you're going around and checking and knocking down webs and knocking down any kind of wasp nests, look for dark lines, look for dark areas, anything that would attract the attention of a pest. To a pest, that's an area for them to hide. So you want to make sure that you're getting all of these taken care of, looking at them, making sure that if there's any access point, if there's any indication that a pest has been going in, or even the potential, that you make note of it in your mind. If necessary, carry a notepad and make note of it as you're going around. And then pay attention to any nighttime security lights. Oftentimes, we're going to be there during the day, and at night, maybe some lights come on, and this attracts the insects in a way that we just don't see. It'll help lead you to where the potential problems might be and give us a chance to get a better service done. When we're performing the treatment, we want to protect the perimeter. Make sure that as we're doing the service, that we prevent any access from the property to the house. So there's a big area between that fence line and the perimeter to the property or into the house, and we want to protect that. And the best way to do that is to make sure we get a good liquid application down. And that's being extremely thorough and generally going to require the power rig. Power rig will give us the opportunity to get the amount of material out, especially if there's going to be any kind of rock bed, landscaping, or anything like that against the fence. And it'll give us a chance to be able to really pinpoint areas and get that material onto the fence. Backpacks work great. They just take a little longer to work, and you're going to end up using predominantly 3 or 4 gallons by the time you're done, and that'll pretty much use up the entire backpack. If you're going to take care of anything in a way that's going to be above and beyond what the normal service would be, you got to make sure that you get a large volume of material into the rock beds and landscaping. Oftentimes we do a service, knock down what's there, but the ants and these occasional invaders are under the rocks and hidden underneath landscaping timbers and landscaping materials, and maybe a black type of product that's put down to prevent weeds from coming up. The insects love to be able to get underneath that. So we really have to get in there and soak that. So going beyond just the normal spray that other companies do and utilizing the volume of material that we have is going to prevent those pests from getting inside. And then as you're going around treating, check sheds, do the treatments around there, especially up under the areas where the roof slope comes down to the wall. Again, check playscapes, make sure that the playscapes are taken care of. Look for pool areas, especially adjacent to it. Ants love those areas. And any place where people lounge. They may not necessarily have a deck and have any kind of specific patio set there, but we can go and treat the lounge area because wasps and spiders love to get up under those seats. And the last thing we want is somebody to find a spider or a wasp when they're sitting down in the seat, relaxing with their cocktail at night. And then any grassy areas that are adjacent, go ahead and granulate them, especially if they're going to have an irrigation system. That's going to help prevent those crawling insects. May only last a short time, but it's going to help knock back those insects and prevent them from getting in. Continue with the treatment on the structure. You want to treat with the backpack because at this point, you don't want a lot of puddles to occur. You just want to keep the product on the surface of the building. So you want to treat the doors, around the doors, around the windows. You want to treat the sides and the bottoms of the windows, but you've got to watch out for the glass. Much of the products will splash or mist up and they'll end up on the glass and the customers will feel like we've just oversprayed. So you want to make sure that you're careful, provide enough of a depth of service. So go at least a foot around the doors and the door frames, go a foot around the windows on the sides and the bottom, give it some space for the insect to crawl through as they get to the area that they're going to try to get in. There's a lot of gaps, a lot of potential problems and access points around windows and doors. Treat around porch lights, making sure that you don't really, you want to use your web brush to get the webs and everything out from inside the light. Be careful if the light's on, especially if it's a halogen and you spray water on it, it could end up causing it to break. So you want to spray with the water around it to prevent those spiders from causing webbing to be found where they're trying to catch moths that are going to the lights. And then the foundation, as you see in the bottom picture, you want to treat where that white substrate, the cement, meets the siding. And you want to treat at least 2 or 3 feet down and up the siding. You give the chance for that pest to come in contact with the material. Anytime you have 2 different substrates, whether it's brick and cement, brick and siding, cement and siding, always treat the crack where they join because that's where the pest will head. And in any place that you find that's greater than an inch opening, go ahead and dust it. It's going to give you a longer residual and it's going to give you more of an opportunity to prevent pests from getting in. After we've done our inspection and we've gone around and treated, now it's time to educate the customer. This is really what separates us. How do we educate them? Well, first part we do is our service report. Now, the service report is brought up on your phone, and it's a legal document that tells what products we used and if there are any issues and things that we're going to tell them about the service. It's been told that you want to describe the service and what you've done as if you're talking to somebody you can't see. So you want to be very descriptive and explain everything that you did, what you found, and how you're protecting them. If necessary, and you find it's difficult to describe it, shoot a picture. In the documents section on the phone, it allows you to take a picture and load it. So make sure that you have all the information about that service before you leave. Make sure in the notes that you thank the customer. Review the reason for the service. Tell them what was done. Make sure they know what to expect. Let them know what's going to happen on the next service. And in the summer, because we're following the pollinator protection program, we want to let them know that our service is going to look a little different based on when flowers are out, and potentially bees and wasps and other pollinators could come in contact with the pest control products. So we're going to alter our service to protect them. And then after you leave the notes, call the customer. Let them know you're done if they're not home. Let them know if you need anything specific to be done. Let them know any corrections that should be done to help prevent pests. And then ask for a review. Nothing is important as making sure the customer gives you a review of the service you did. It's important, and it shows that you're proud of this job that you did for them. And the last thing, follow up. It's important that we send notes to the office, give a full explanation of what we found, what we did, and if we need to do any kind of follow-up. Is there anything we can do to help protect that home and let our other colleagues know before they go out on the next service? What's going on? What did you find? Where did you put bait stations? Make sure that you document any information, anything that can be able to be of help to, if you're not the person going back, that they can take care of it. Document everywhere the bait stations are at or monitors, and don't schedule the next service. Nothing will end up causing a customer more of a headache than to find that you scheduled the service and the office can't supply that time, and now the customer feels frustrated. We want to avoid that. Just let them know that we'll be back out and let the office get it scheduled. So that's it. Pretty simple. We just want to make sure that we're following all the steps, that we're providing the customer with the easiest service, the most complete service, and we're utilizing the right products, starting with the inspection, starting even before that with the preparation, and moving straight through to educating them, following up, and making sure that they have a great experience with us. Thank you. Good luck out there, and be careful.